Okay, Team FYN Sports here with the Pickens Dragons' new head coach, Coach Myers. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. What about yourself?
Can't complain. I'm here with Jake West, the director of Team FYN Sports. You've been on the staff for 2 years as a defensive coordinator, just recently named head coach. You're not coming in wondering what the team colors are and what the attitude of the program is and the administration and stuff like that. So you're already out in front of some things. Talk about coming, let's bring it up, the 2 years you were the defensive coordinator on this program, learning the kids, learning the athletes you're working with, and now being the head coach.
I think it was a really good experience for me because I was coming from a program in Middle Georgia that dealing with a different type of clientele, getting used to coaching, a different brand of ball up here in North Georgia. So that allowed me 2 years to kind of find my footing, understand the place, understand Pickens in and of itself as far as the school building, the community, getting a feel for the total scope and how important the football program was to the fabric of the community. That was really important. But in addition, I already have a very good understanding of who the kids are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, where we can start trying to build offense, defense, special teams to suit our players' strengths. Whereas if I'm coming in from somewhere else, I don't know who any of these kids are, and I have to find and understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and also develop a relationship with them. I'm a big relationship guy. I try and speak to all of our kids every day, and just even if it's just cutting up and saying something goofy or whatever, but I try and make sure that they know that I'm there to help them, better them, and that I care about them. Because there's going to come a time that down on the practice field, I'm gonna crawl them and I'm gonna chew them, and they're not going to like that. But we follow that up with making sure that they understand we care about them. We're gonna coach them hard and love them hard.
Team is coming off. We've watched a lot of the Pickens Dragons that graduated from a championship team. You're in a growth mode right now with the program. Last year, GHSA juggled the regions up. Mm-hmm. You've got some different teams, Cedartown, right? Yep. You got some different teams in your region. Last year, COVID protocols, things that coaches just had never had to, work through before.
Right.
Last year was very challenging. So with the players you have coming back, the region that you're in, where is this team right now? Where do you feel this team is coming in as the head coach?
Well, it's going to all depend on the fit of everybody and understanding what the goal is, what the objective is, and then being able to define these things and talk about the process and the steps to get to the ultimate end goal with it. So I think that there are some pieces in place for us to, start making progress and head back on the path that things have been in the past. But it's not going to be just an overnight fix right there. There's some things that we've got to do in terms of developing our players, our coaches, getting the right people in place as far as assistants and whatnot, making sure that we are doing everything that we can to maximize the potential of these kids in this program. There's some youth in the team that's going to be highlighted, and it's going to be talented. There's also some kids coming back that are veterans that are going to have an opportunity to step in a role as upperclassmen that, to showcase their abilities. So, every job is going to be up for grabs when we get out there as far as spring ball and everything leading up into it. So I'm excited about the potential, but I also know that there's a monumental amount of work to be done for us to achieve what we're ultimately capable of.
Go ahead, Jake.
Just X's and O's for a minute. What are you going to bring and implement that might be different or the same as to what we saw watching the Dragons offense last year? I know you come in as a D coordinator and defensive, maybe not a defensive guy, but that's the role you played for the past 2 years. I just want to know offensively, what are you going to bring? What are we going to look for on Friday night?
Things will not be, the same that they've been. I'm in the process right now of interviewing multiple people for the position of offensive coordinator. What I want to do is, it's got some components and some similarities to what has been done in the past, but I want to get in and have a little bit more of my flavor, what I want to see offensively in there. And
Are you looking to like spread it out? Are you going to ground and pound it?
we won't be ground and pound, but I'm also not going to get in a Mike Leach air raid where we're 5 wide throwing the ball vertically 50, 60 times a game and we're only running at 10. I'd like to, ultimately, offense is going to try to be balanced 50-50 as much as possible right there, but then our players will dictate our scheme, and the guys that I've been talking to understand that that's kind of the expectation there. We're going to have to make sure we do a good job of mitigating what our weaknesses are and then accentuating our strengths at the same time.
And I would assume that defensively you'll pretty much stick with the same scheme.
We're going to do some stuff that's very similar to what we've done the last 2 years, but I will be tweaking some things. And ultimately, I tell our kids all the time, defensively, it matters, pursuit to the football, getting off blocks, and tackling well. Like, those are the things we're going to focus on, and we're going to just try and hang our hat on that. So if that means we're pretty simplistic and we're not doing a ton, that's fine. We're going to line up, we're going to play hard, we're going to play fast, and try and tackle well. And then offensively, we're going to be a little bit more sophisticated than that, obviously, but I want us to be able to execute things at a high level. So we may start off with a playbook that's here, but then as time goes on, we condense it right there because we need to be able to execute it. It's not about the amount, the quantity, it's about the quality.
Yeah. I believe that, wholeheartedly believe that you have the full support of the administration here, and you said that you got to sit down and talk to the kids. Do you think that, is there a sense that the kids are starting to buy into what you're selling? Because I mean that's just how it is. You're selling something different than the guy before you. So what do you think the feel is in the locker room? Quotations in the locker room right now.
I think the kids are excited. I don't pretend to be someone that I'm not. I'm very energetic. I'm high energy. I'm up tempo. That's just how I am. And so the kids have responded well to that. We've turned the heat up on them some in the weight room, leading up into this, just so that they understand things are not the same. And we've got a lot of work to do. So I think me being high energy has been good for the kids because we as coaches should model the behavior that we expect from our kids. So if we expect to play fast and we expect to get after it, then that's how we have to behave as well as the adults, because we set the overall climate. Like, we're not the thermometer, we're the thermostat. We set the temperature of the room. So I think that they have bought into that, and it's been these 2 weeks have been good.
What's your head coaching style going to be? You're a defensive coordinator for the last 2 years. Is your head coaching style going to be, is your first head coaching job, correct?
Correct.
Are you looking for your style to be to delegate to your coordinators? Or are you going to get involved in the defensive side because that's where you come from? What style are you looking to run?
Ultimately, I'll have a hand in what we do defensively, but I'm not going to overcoach. I don't want to undercut anyone. Like, you hire good people to put them in positions to be successful. Obviously I want to know what we're doing offensively and defensively and special teams, because the success or failure falls at my feet. I'll be responsible for that. So I want to make sure that I understand what's going on in every phase of the game. But I also am not going to be someone that micromanages. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's effective.
Not on the offensive side either. Or you think that whoever you're looking for your offensive coordinator, are they going to call plays?
Yeah, they're going to call plays, and I'll obviously look at, all right, what's game plan? We sit down Sunday and we make sure all the boxes check out right. And if there's something that I don't necessarily agree with, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about it, and either I'll understand why this is in the game plan and we'll roll with it, or we'll throw it out because, again, ultimately it falls at my feet whether we succeed or fail there.
For years I've I've enjoyed coming down here on a Friday night, and a couple things. The history of this program is always, this room has an amazing coaching staff.
Right.
Talk a little bit of who you can. We know it's early, Coach, but do you know who's coming back? Do you know how many spots you have to fill? What's the coaching staff going to look like this year as different or resemble last year?
There's going to be, obviously, whenever there's change, there will be some people that stay on, some people that leave. We'll certainly be looking to fill a couple positions there on the offensive side of the ball, and we'll be looking to, as I step into a new role, be looking to fill defensive coordinator position. So I would anticipate anywhere between as few as 2, but as many as 4 possible coaching hires right there, just to put an early projection out. One big thing that I'll go ahead and say is Coach Wigginton, who's longtime coach here. He's been under every coach since Coach Loudermilk. Him coming up back from the middle school to coach offensive line and help me as my assistant head coach is going to be really big for me personally, because he understands the place, he understands the program, he's seen what it looks like under 5 different head coaches. So I can lean on him for advice as I navigate this first year as a head coach.
One more thing on that. Another exciting thing about the Pickens football program that I've enjoyed watching over the years is the feeder program. You guys have a great, right from your youth to the middle school, all the way up, a good feeder program. Coach Wig was the head coach down at the middle school. They've already made that decision who will be head coach down at the middle school.
They have. We made that last week. Coach Faber, who is the offensive coordinator there, will step in as the head coach. The remainder of the staff at the junior high is going to stay there. In addition to meeting with the high school kids, last week I met with the junior high. This week we'll be starting middle school workouts next week. I'm fortunate that I have a really good relationship with the middle school principal, Dr. Flatt, and the AD there, Michael Parker, where I'll be going over to see those kids, once every week or 2 weeks, just to continue to, if a kid misses workouts or something, I'll have the capability to go see them, sit down, talk, schedule.
So you will continue, the great history here
Right.
that I see of the flow
Yes.
of through the lower ranks, right, ready to play football when
Right, and it won't just be at the junior high. Eventually, I'm going to go down to the middle school, which is the 5 and 6 school, and I'll start recruiting kids there to play for the 7th grade team when we return from our midwinter break. Also, I'm fortunate my wife works in the county also as an elementary school teacher, so I'll be going to Harmony Elementary when we get ready to do youth football signups and recruiting kids there that need to be doing it. I'll go to Tate, do the same thing. I'll go to Hill City and do the same thing. I think having in a place like this, a one-horse town, small, tight-knit community, you've got to make sure that you're visible, that you're present, and that you go out and you market the brand, the Diamond P, at more than just the high school events. These parents, these teachers, these kids need to see you, more than just Fridays in the fall.
Coach, another thing that throughout the years here that I've always enjoyed is all the coaching since I've been covering the team, strength, conditioning, and Pickens Dragons. These young men, they can play in the fourth quarter, and that's where games are won and lost in the fourth quarter, and who can play in that fourth quarter and who has the endurance to go. So what is your strength and conditioning, and what are you guys looking at to get ready for this fall?
Well, I've been in charge of strength and conditioning the last 2 years, in addition to being defensive coordinator. So again, I've already got a pretty good feel about where we're at with everything. I will say that when we returned 2 weeks ago, because we were out 3 weeks, that Gilmer and Fannin, some of those schools were in, we were doing virtual learning, our distance learning right there. As we've returned, I've turned the heat up on them, and we're going to continue to do that because, like I said, if we want to play fast. We want to practice fast. We want to lift fast. We want to get after it with a sense of urgency, with a sense of tempo, and with a sense of purpose. So that will be one thing that we continue to do is really push the sense of urgency and tempo in the weight room as well as the practice field. I just think that they should all mesh and coincide with one another with what your weight room philosophy is, your practice philosophy to how you plan on playing on Friday nights, whether it's offensive scheme, defensive scheme, whatever. So we'll continue to do that. And as I step into the role of head coach, though, I do plan on looking at finding someone to run the strength and conditioning aspect of the program for me, just so that I can step into more of a CEO role and take care of a lot of the administrative work that needs to be done.
As a new head coach, when you're coming into a new program and you don't have the background and you don't know, you're meeting people at the middle school for the first time. Those things are out of the way for you. You know the region you're getting ready to play in.
Right.
So that you already got a leg up. Who is, besides the Pickens Dragon, talk a little bit about the region already. Who is the teams, a couple of the teams that are a little stronger this year, or you see stepping up in the region that's going to be the most competitive? Talk a little bit about the region you see upcoming year.
The region in and of itself was really competitive this past year, with kind of the exception of Cedartown being in a little bit separate class than the rest of us, which I know Coach Abrams there, the head coach at Cedartown, he and I are friends from previous places that we've coached. He'll do a great job. They've got a lot of talent coming back. They were a relatively young team and won the region, so he'll do a really good job there. They should be the preseason region favorite. The staff at Northwest is always good. They have their kids ready to play. Same thing for Heritage. Those two are kind of the model of consistency. You take Ridgeland, who they beat Heritage this year, and Heritage gave Hateville Charter all they wanted in the first round of the playoffs. So that's another team that has had recent success, a region championship as recent as 2019. And then Central, we were not able to play our game with them this past year, but I know Coach Smiley and a couple other guys on that staff, and I know that they do a good job there and that they'll have their kids ready to play. So again, the region is very, very competitive. We're going to have to do a great job getting our kids ready to play if we want to play Game 11. And that's, I've already talked to our kids. We're playing in Game 11. We're going to put ourselves in a position to play in the GHSA playoffs. So for us to do that, though, it can't just be a bunch of words and talk. Like, we've got to put things into action and be able to define how we're going to effectively get there.
Coach, moving away from not football as a whole, but can you tell us, you've only been here for 2 years. Give us your background, like where you came from, how you ended up at Pickens, and why, as a coach, you always have a choice. Why choose Pickens?
Right. So originally from Gwinnett County, big, largest school system in the state. Went off and played college football at Shorter for 4 years. Really enjoyed it there. Enjoyed the small town aspect of Rome. Graduated from there, needed a job. Found one at Spalding High School in Griffin, Georgia. Was there as a position coach for 2 years, and then my third year I was named defensive coordinator and took over the strength program there as well. And I did that for the next 6 years. There was a transition there where the guy that I worked for, who Nick Davis, one of my closest friends, my mentor, he left to take another job at a different school in the surrounding area. And it was just one of those things that timing was perfect, because here at Pickens, Coach Nelson was taking over for Coach Parker. Adam Wharton was going up to Gilmer with Coach Saunders, so that opened up a DC and a weight room position that a guy on staff, Stephen Hunter, that I'm good friends with, reached out to me and asked what my interest level would be. And I came up here, met with Coach Nelson and Coach Parker, really liked the place, liked the atmosphere, liked the climate of the school and the day that I spent there. And so that's kind of how I ended up here. It was ironic that same day that I came and interviewed here and spent time, that evening, my wife and I found out that we were pregnant with our first child. So it almost just seemed like, okay, maybe this is a sign that this is the type of place that we need to go raise our family. And we came up here and hadn't looked back since.
I'm going to say about 3 years ago. I guess it was about 3 years ago. On the sideline on Friday night, you dressed out about 105 kids, right around that. Numbers have gone down a little bit in the last couple years. How do you plan to get those numbers back up on the sideline, dressing out kids? I mean, talk about that just a little bit.
Recruit the hallways, recruit the junior high, be present, spend time, go out, talk to people, be present in the community, promote the brand, everything that we do. You won't see me out in Jasper anywhere without wearing Diamond Piece something. Just today, Coach Wigginton and I went out to lunch, and I saw at the place where we ate, there was 2 jerseys that were probably from 2007. Football jerseys hanging up. I went and said, hey, who's manager on duty right now? I said, can I bring you a newer jersey right here that has got, our Diamond P and some stuff like that? Yeah, absolutely. Like things like that. I plan on promoting, pushing that. Once we, meet next week with the team for our second team meeting, we're going to talk about social media and how it's a positive and a negative, but we're going to get out there and we're going to really push the brand with that again. And we're going to try and make sure that these kids have an unbelievable experience. That doesn't mean that there's no discipline and it's just a, happy camp, lottie-dottie, everybody, but we want to make sure that all aspects of it, as far as learning the life lessons, the friendship, the experience right there, but, the little things that go with it, the matching sweatpants and sweatshirts, when we're playing a road game at Northwest that we wear as a team in early November. Those things right there, just putting that out there to those kids and then going to recruiting the community. Again, in a small town like this, it's important that people know who the head football coach is and that the head football coach is invested in the place.
So we talked and you said it was real simple. You were on or off.
Right.
That was the switch. You're off or on. Are you going to bring the energy on Friday night? Are you bringing the energy and you expect these guys to follow that energy down on the field and make it happen?
I only know 2 speeds. I can't be who I'm not. It's funny. Jordan Shaw, our special teams coordinator and defense backs coach, said, we were talking about it one day. He said, you can't not be on. Like, you can't just stand around and watch, because I said I was going to do that at a couple JV games and just sit back. I'm not capable of it. So, I'm going to, again, you can either be a thermostat or a thermometer. I'd rather be a thermostat.
I'm going down the hill. I'm bringing it.
There we go.
Guys, when you follow me, you bring it too.
Yep.
Okay, you got anything else? That's it?
I don't have any more questions. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to see the energy that you're bringing. You got me wanting to go back and see if I've got any eligibility left myself. Right. So
Yep.
I don't think you'll have a problem with getting guys to buy in to what you're selling. I mean,
no, I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited about these kids. This is a special place. It's a great program. We've got potential, but it's not going to happen unless we make it happen. It's a bunch of words and a bunch of nothing unless we put it into action and put the work in.
Coach Myers, we appreciate you taking the time and spending with us here at Team FYN Sports. RJ Casey, he's green through and through.
That's
He'll
right.
be there on Friday nights with the team. He brings the energy also.
He does.
And again, we look forward to Pickens Power half-hour Dragon Talk this fall with Dave Garner every week. So
yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank
we
you,
look
guys.
forward to it. We're excited what you bring to the team and seeing what these young men do this year.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys coming out and talking to me.